My name is Jonah Mitchell with the Marietta College admissions, and I am joined by Alicia Doerflinger, and we are doing the Q&A session for psychology. And I'll turn it over to Alicia to kind of introduce herself as well.
Hi, my name is Alicia Doerflinger, and I am just wrapping up my 13th year at Marietta College, so lucky number 13 in the era of coronavirus. I am the chair of the psychology department, and I have served recently on faculty council, and I'm serving currently as chair of the curriculum committee. And so I can tell you a lot about our general education curriculum as well as our psychology and neuroscience curriculum.
Yeah, and there's a lot to all of that. I know that's actually, we served on the curriculum committee together when I was a student. That was what we did.
That was so long ago.
I know. It was a long time ago.
But wow, I did not remember that at all.
Yeah. So date myself there a little bit.
Yeah, this year was a big year for curriculum committee because we are rolling out the new general education curriculum. And so we're right now in between old gen ed and new gen ed, and that's how we're calling everything. It's just the old and the new.
Right.
But anyone coming in at this point will be under our new general education curriculum, and we did some pretty cool things with the new curriculum. I'd be happy to talk about that if anyone has any questions. In psychology specifically, the department houses 4 programs. So we house a bachelor's degree in psychology, a bachelor's of science degree in neuroscience. We house a master's program in general psychology, and we host a master's program in clinical mental health counseling. And our clinical mental health counseling program just rolled out this year, along with our neuroscience program. So we have some really new and cool things happening in the psychology department.
Which is great. We would love to see those exciting changes happening, right? And I would say, that's something definitely a plus for Marietta College is the fact that, departments, I would say for the most part across campus are pretty involved in other departments and also just the college in general. So you're definitely getting a lot of updates and keeping current, I would say.
Absolutely. We have in the psychology program, the bachelor's of psychology, we tweak that program pretty regularly. The neuroscience program is brand new, and what's really exciting about the neuroscience program is that it's interdisciplinary. So our students take coursework in physics and chemistry and biology and biochemistry, and some of our neuroscience students are on a pre-med track. Others are hoping to go into graduate programs, either in cognitive neuroscience or behavioral neuroscience. So there are a lot of pathways students can take when they get a degree in psychology.
And we actually, I think from that, we actually have a question who just came in, kind of discussing the different avenues and different ways the department, is reaching out across campus. This student asks, what are some of the ways that students engage with the department outside of the classroom?
Awesome question. We really pride ourselves on getting students engaged in research. We have a psychology lab where 5 of the 7 psychology faculty meet every week with undergraduates and graduate students. We have a pretty steady stream of research projects happening at any given point in the academic year and really through the summer. We love to take students to conferences. So we travel to both national and sometimes international meetings with students. and the students are co-authors on research projects that we present at those meetings. So recently we have taken students to Chicago for the Midwestern Psychological Association meeting. We've taken students to Florida for the Southeastern Psychological Association meeting. Those are a couple of examples of regional meetings, but known on a national level. We have taken students to the Eastern Psychological Association meetings. Those have been in Boston and in New York City and in Washington, D.C. So we really love to do research with students in our lab. And we love to travel with students and show them what being a scientist looks like. And they get to participate in professional research conferences and make professional presentations.
And I always talk about this, you know, being in admissions. I talk with a lot of incoming students and everything like that, and I completely agree with what you're saying in the importance of getting that actual experience outside of just the classroom. Obviously, classroom learning is important, but I would say in all our majors, and definitely in psychology, we try to push getting experience outside the classroom, be it internship, traveling, like you were saying, to different conferences, just pushing that actual experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have fun at those meetings too. It's not all hard work. But we also like to take students in psychology club to various places around town. We take an annual pilgrimage to the Moundsville Penitentiary for the haunted house at the old Moundsville State Prison in West Virginia. We take students to the University of Akron to see the biggest psychology research museum that exists in the country. And a few of our faculty like to bowl. I've been roped into the bowling on occasion. It's not my favorite hobby, but it's fun to spend time with my colleagues and with psychology students, and we get to knock down some pins. So it depends on what the students' interests are, but we do like to travel around with some students and have some fun. Our graduate program is really exciting because our undergraduates get an opportunity to interact with the graduate students, and they often serve as research assistants for the graduate students. So our undergrads are actually getting a couple of different levels of instruction from both faculty research mentors and also the graduate students who they're working with. And it just provides a lot of engagement for students in our department.
And so there you go. So not only do you get to travel, but you get that fun in doing events. So you're not just going to be reading old tomes and stuff like that all day. You get to actually go out with your professors and fellow students and, explore, have some fun.
If you travel with me, though, I'll warn you ahead of time. I make you try foods that you might not like a lot, or you might think you don't like. That's the key, right? You think you don't like something, but because I'm a feeding scientist, I study feeding behavior. I like to encourage students to try new things when we're traveling on conferences. So if you're with me, you're gonna have to try some new foods.
Hey, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think, you should try as much as possible, right? Get out there. There's plenty to eat. So don't just stick with pizza, try something new.
It's chicken fingers and French fries a lot of the time.
So I believe that.
I cannot eat chicken fingers and French fries for an entire week of traveling with students. So you sometimes have to eat what I eat.
There's nothing wrong with that. All right, so we got another question that's come in. All right, and this one I think is, bouncing off of what we were just talking about. This student asks, what can you explain some more about the internships or research or field experience that is available to students in your department?
Great, good question. So our faculty who work, I'll start with the research piece and then I'll talk a little bit about internship experiences. And I will preface all of it by saying that one of the new additions to our general education curriculum is actually to fulfill a requirement to have experiential education. And it's something that most of us were doing already. Most departments on campus do some sort of experiential education, but there wasn't a very good system in place to actually track that and document it, and to be able to tell families, yeah, 100% of our students do some sort of experiential education experience. So that is actually a new piece of the gen ed, and we have lots of opportunities in the psych department that meet the criteria for experiential education. So doing research in the lab is one of those experiences, and students can do independent research for varying levels of credit, coursework credit, I should say. So depending on the semester, a student could take 1 credit of research hours in the lab. The next semester, maybe they do 2 or 3. And so you can really round out your psychology coursework with some actual research experience. Our senior year experience is the capstone course. And in our department, our capstone course is History and Systems. And that is paired with either an internship experience or an applied research experience. And so we have a couple of tracks for the internship. One of those tracks is the developmental track. So folks who are interested in developmental psychology, and that's broadly defined, right? That could be looking at lifespan issues from infancy, even from pregnancy all the way until death, right? So developmental psychology is really broadly defined, but students who take the internship track in developmental psychology are placed in internship sites in the hospital, in school systems. Some of our students work for Eve Shelter, which is our shelter for persons who suffer from domestic abuse and violence. Students get placed in the court systems. There are a lot of opportunities around town, and we have lots of designated spots, but students are actually encouraged to identify their own internship site, and our faculty will help students coordinate that internship site if it's something that a student is really passionate about. If you're not passionate about anything that's on our list of internship sites, we encourage you and help you facilitate getting together an internship opportunity that is meaningful to you. Our other internship track is a clinical track. So students who are interested in clinical psychology or counseling psychology are assigned to internship sites that might be, again, at the hospital. They might be in counseling centers, such as locally we have L&P services in Marietta, also Westbrook in Parkersburg, West Virginia. So our students get hands-on experience shadowing case managers, shadowing clinicians, and doing some group work with clients. And so those internships vary, again, depending on what our students are passionate about, depending on what's interesting to them. And so we really try to place students in an internship site that is a good fit for that individual student. Did I hit them all?
I think you got them. So,
okay.
You know, I would say it's great because there are that many options to students, you know. I mean, that's what, you know, is not to be cheesy, but, you know, at Marietta, you know, we're always saying be a pioneer, blaze a new trail. And so I think that is something that is interesting, is the fact that you have all those options available that are around, but you also have new possibilities if you want to do something that maybe isn't in the area or isn't connected to something that maybe others have done. You just want to go do your own thing. You have that possibility. So lots of opportunities for students.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Let's see. Give people a chance to ask some more questions.
Jonah, I see a question from one of our participants.
I do too, just popped up.
Okay.
So from here, this student is asking, I know Marietta doesn't have the program, but I'm interested in the idea of social work, and I'm curious about what aspects of the psychology program might be similar to the person-to-person aspects of social work. Would you be able to answer that?
Sure. So there is a lot of overlap in kind of the philosophical approach that we might train our students to take with a client that would overlap with social work. Certainly evidence-based practices is something that we really focus on in our curriculum. We really want students to understand that best practices are rooted in research, and that the reason we know things are effective and interventions are effective, and how we work with people, we know that that's effective because we have research to show us that it's effective. So evidence-based practices, best practices, some of our again, philosophical perspectives about how we interact with people and the ethical treatment of people, the ethical basis for research, all of those things would overlap a lot. We do have a course in sociology that we offer at Marietta that is actually taught through the political science department. And I think a lot of our students have, I don't want to say a lot of our students, I couldn't give you a number right now, but we've had a number of students in recent years go into master's programs in social work from their undergraduate program in psychology. Because to be a practicing clinician and to be a licensed social worker, you need to have a master's degree. And you can go into a master's program in social work with a number of different backgrounds, and psychology is one of those backgrounds. So I would say there's a lot of overlap, and that you could definitely get to your career goal, to your endpoint in social work by having an undergraduate major in psychology.
And you're going to pick up probably a lot of useful information along the way that's going to apply to social work, you know, later on when you do get that master's by having that psychology background. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's definitely helpful. So, and I hope we answered that question. And I will give everyone a second for anyone joining. Welcome, and to just go ahead, if anyone has questions, go ahead and ask them.
So, Jonah, what was your best, or what did you take away from being an undergraduate at Marietta College that you still use today?
Truly, I would say one of the most important things was people skills. Marietta, not only are you close with your fellow students, but I mean, your professors are there for you too. You can raise your hand in class and talk with professors. You can stop by professors' offices and talk with them, ask them questions and stuff like that. And I would say just that ability to interact with people, you know, be it your fellow classmates or, you know, people older than you or professors and stuff like that, is vitally important. Because I mean, I have heard some horror stories from people I knew who very smart, but were definitely more, you know, kept themselves at various schools, didn't really venture out. And that hurts when it comes to jobs or applying for jobs and, you know, the interviews and, you know, working with others and stuff like that. So I think that, you know, just friendly, you know, environment in Marietta and getting to know people is really, really important. So, and I would say that's definitely one of the biggest things I've taken with me. So
I absolutely think you have you have every opportunity to develop close relationships with your faculty and your staff, and certainly your fellow students. And I think one thing this semester has taught me, since we have moved online and all of our students are working from home right now, is that there's actually even more of a need for that connection, and to be able to provide that support to students, and for students to know that they can get that from us when they need it, even under these circumstances where things are pretty uncertain. And our strategy for how we're delivering classes has been totally upended. But I think that I have really felt like there's such a strong foundation between the students and the faculty, their relationship, that we've really made it work, I think. And I know students in lots of places are struggling, but I hope that our students are maybe doing better than some other folks because of that kind of relationship that we have built with our students here.
Yep. And I would say, in admissions, I'm still in contact with a lot of parents and even current students and stuff like that, just, keeping up to date. And I will say that, obviously both professors and students at Marietta wish that they were on campus. Everyone wishes they were still with friends or in class, being able to ask questions, stuff like that. So, it's definitely stinks that we're not there. But I will say, we have heard a lot of feedback saying that parents are impressed with how in contact students and professors are with each other, and still keeping up that relationship that brings people to Marietta. Because, a lot of places you go online, you're just getting, here's the online material, here's the paper, do these assignments to get the grade and stuff like that. But the fact that, professors and are still reaching out with students, still taking the time to answer questions, via video, by doing class and in-class discussions via video, I really think that does speak to that nature and relationship that you get at Marietta. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We had poster presentations in my research methods class today, and students came to my office hours, right, my Zoom office hours, and met with me about their presentations. And then we all came into class today, and they gave their poster presentations just as though we had been all together at All Scholars Day. So I think that students are getting something, especially in a time like this, that they weren't getting before. Or I shouldn't say they're getting it now and they weren't getting it before, just to say that it's certainly more noticeable at this time, at this point in time, that we have those kinds of connections with our students, and they're getting the help and the support they need to finish out the semester.
Right.
But we're doing that all the time, just not in.
Well, and I think that's what I think that speaks to it, is the fact that, this has been, when you think about it, a relatively smooth transition for us to be able to do this contacting online and stuff like that. And I think that comes from the fact that professors and students get along so well in person at the college, and know each other, and know, what strengths, weaknesses, what goals, the student has, and you're able to carry that over via video chat because, again, you have that connection already. So I think it we're able to keep doing what we're doing, but it also reflects the strengths that were there that maybe we didn't realize were there before. So
that so beautifully, Jonah. Graduate of Marietta College. Very well articulated.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I would say, Marietta, we're just continuing to, do our best to reach out to students. And, if anyone has anything in the chat, right now, that if you're here that you want to ask about Marietta, or, what we students and faculty are like, or anything like that, feel free to do that as well. It doesn't just have to be, general questions at all. So, let's see. All right. Okay. So we have a question that just came in. And this one says, probably from, we were just talking about Marietta there for a little bit. This one says, what do you enjoy most about teaching and working at Marietta College?
That's a great question. I am really missing my colleagues and my students right now. So I think it's the people, which is something that Jonah alluded to earlier in terms of really learning people skills and making connections and having those interactions. So my favorite part of Marietta College is definitely the people I work with and the students that I work with. I also like the fact that I've been able to make things happen. So we didn't have a neuroscience program last year, and this year we have a new neuroscience program, right? And we're supported by the administration, and we're encouraged to try new things, and we're encouraged to develop new programs. So we get a lot of support and encouragement to, again, not to be cheesy, but to blaze a new trail, right? And to be a pioneer. So we don't just put that on a t-shirt. We really live that every day, that you get to go try new things that maybe you didn't think were possible, or programs that didn't exist before. You build the program and the students will come into it. And so that's a great part of the Marietta College experience.
And I would say that also transfers over into the student aspect as well. Definitely, not only are professors given the opportunities to explore new avenues and new possibilities of study in their areas, but I would say students as well are encouraged, academically to maybe think outside the box, look at new, ways or paths of learning and fields of study. And also, though, on the social aspect of Marietta College too, there's a ton of organizations you can take part of, that you can form your own organizations. I mean, and you can really find what interests you and pursue it if you want. And if it's not there, you can create it. And it really is kind of living that branding material we throw out there. We don't just say it for a catchy, phrase or something like that. We really do encourage, faculty and students to pursue, blazing their own trail, doing their own thing. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Give anyone who still wants to ask a question some time to do so. All right, not seeing any new questions. So give everyone a last call on questions, I guess. If you have any, be sure to ask them.
Jenna, I would just say, I know visits aren't possible right now, but if you have an opportunity when the bans lift and the quarantine expires, to come out and see us on campus, will be this much fun times, I don't know, 10 or 12.
Yes, exactly. Definitely. So ask anyone in the admissions office. They all say I like to talk. So, if you're enjoying conversation right now, come in person when you're able, and we can talk in person. So, and definitely come on to visit. I would say, when you're able to, and if you're, deposited and coming in the fall, we're looking forward to seeing you here, because, campus is great. Students love being on campus. So we're looking forward to being able to do that again, definitely. And if you do want to talk, I will throw out that admissions is doing Zoom interviews and stuff like that. So if you would like to talk with an admission counselor or want to talk with me or something like that, feel free to reach out to admissions. It's admit@marietta.edu, and you can kind of say you want to set up a Zoom meeting, and we will talk with you like this. So, and I've done several of those, and they're really great. They're great to connect and just talk with students. So that's always an option.
And I would add, faculty are also happy to have meetings with students or students and parents. So please, if you wanted to have a meeting with a faculty in a specific department, contact admissions and they will set that up for us.
Yep. And I completely agree. So all right, not seeing any other questions. So Alicia, do you have anything else you want to add at the end?
I would just say, give our virtual tour a walkthrough, look at all the programs we have to offer, lots of extracurricular activities. Campus will take your breath away this time of year, and I know you can't be there, but we have some beautiful imagery, I think, online.
Yep.
Follow some of our administration, like Dr. Rude, the president of Marietta College. Some of our faculty are on Twitter, so follow them for the latest updates. And I think you'll really get a great sense of everything that Marietta College has to offer.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. Do those virtual tours, check out, on online campus right now. It's obviously we wish you could be here, but it's great to see the imagery of campus because it is beautiful right now. So, definitely encourage you to do that. Encourage you to think about depositing if you haven't already here at Marietta, and come and join us in the fall. So if you have any questions about that, again, feel free to reach out to admissions. So, All right. Well, I think that's all I got.
Thanks, Jonah.
Well, thank you, Alicia, for joining us. Appreciate it.
Have a great night.
Hey, you do the same.